Huawei may be frozen out of the world's biggest economy, but it's still the world's biggest telecoms provider. Company-wide revenues jumped 27% this past quarter thanks to surging smartphone sales. And this week, the Chinese tech giant got the green light from Germany to help develop its 5G network, despite being barred by the US, Australia and New Zealand. With me is Andy Purdy, the Chief Security Officer of Huawei Technologies in the USA. He joins me from New York, from Washington. Good to see you, sir. The ability, I mean, these deals that you're getting, such as with Germany and others, they are, to a large extent, tests in some ways, or not tests, but you know what I mean, to prove your ability to manage and to remain secure from elsewhere.
And in fact, more importantly, the efforts of Germany and the road that the European Union is going down is consistent with what all cybersecurity experts say. You need to have a comprehensive approach to address real cybersecurity risk. And you need to do it relative to the telecom operators and the equipment vendors. You need trust through verification because the bad guys can hack through everybody's equipment. So we need to take these kinds of measures to be safe.
Right, I have no doubt as to the integrity and excellence of Huawei's telco equipment. Of course, you're familiar, the argument is it's your own people, it's the Chinese that are the problem. And how do you trust and verify against the government of the company that's providing the equipment?
Well, two things, and it's the kinds of measures that companies need around the world. The first thing is, as the former principal deputy to the Director of National Intelligence said, regarding the danger of backdoors, we can test for that. And secondly, regarding access to data, people forget that the telecom operators control access to the data. There are measures that we use in the United States that can guarantee that what we access is completely recorded, completely auditable, completely governed by the telecom operators. And so it's important that we start telling the truth about access to customer networks and customer data. All equipment vendors need to use the kinds of measures that we're using to help provide assurance and security.
But what is that assurance? Because as I understand it, and I'm going to put it in simplistic terms, of course, the idea, you know the arguments better than I do, the idea is that it is the Chinese government that might, or at some point in the future, access the data of others inappropriately through your equipment and with your acquiescence. Now, it's the trust and verify. And clearly you're doing a good job of convincing people that you won't because you're getting more contracts and your work is going up.
Well, it's really a trust through verification. And as the former DNI principal deputy said, and as a recent former FCC, former admiral said, you need to have measures to evaluate the equipment from all telecom operators, all telecom vendors, because the bad guys can hack through that equipment. And regarding access to data, it's time to stop saying that we can access or we provide software updates from China. We don't provide software updates from China. We don't provide software updates from the Huawei network. We use specially configured laptops approved by the customer after written permission each time we record every keystroke so it's completely recorded, completely auditable. That's how you provide assurance.
On the bigger issue, sir, whoever it might be, is cybersecurity the single biggest problem that any CEO faces or should be aware of?
Well, certainly cybersecurity and privacy are part of the comprehensive universe of risks that face major government and major private organizations. As we're moving in information and communication technologies to greater dependence on, for example, 5G, it's more and more important to address the risk and promote resilience to make sure our organizations and governments and citizens are going to be protected. So it's much more important that we have a trust-through verification than we did before.
Andy, good to see you, sir. Have a lovely weekend. I appreciate your time tonight.